We got the first announcement for Xbox Game Pass in August. We will go over everything that is coming. Halo Infinite has a huge update here that they're still adding good content to the game. So we'll talk about that. Ben Studios puts out a tweet that attracts Xbox fans, thinking this could be hinting at an Xbox port of the game. We'll look at that, some of the responses, as well as the announcement that did actually come from Ben yesterday. We have information here on Mafia, The Old Country, length, all of that stuff. What is EA working on? They actually have lots of games in the works. And Larian Studios comments on their next project. They seem pretty excited. But before we do get into it, if you do enjoy this content, daily news show, keeping you up to date on all of the big things happening within the gaming industry, make sure to hit the subscribe, share the video, like the video. Really does help get the channel out there. But for now, let's get into it. So August's first announcement for Xbox Game Pass is here. It's not massive. It may be underwhelming for some people, but let's take a look here as to exactly what is coming. There are 8 games coming to the service. And a lot of them are just kind of going into Game Pass standard. There's 2 games that are dropping in to the Game Pass Ultimate subscriptions, or I guess 4 in general, but 2 that are only on Game Pass Ultimate. One of them is actually a very good game if you haven't checked it out yet, and that is Assassin's Creed Mirage. But we'll start off here. Rain World is coming here to Ultimate, PC, and Game Pass Standard. This is a retro style platformer game where you play as a mouse with a spear. So it's pretty cool. I checked out a video on it. Looks decently fun. If you're into those styles of games, you may want to check that one out. This one here is available right now for you to go ahead and play. Citizen Sleeper 2 Star Wars Vector is coming on August 6th. It's now in Game Pass Standard. A lot of people love these games, so now you can go play this one if you are not subscribed to Ultimate Lonely Mountain Snow Riders, going on August 6th as well to Standard. This was decently fun. It's like a snowboarding, skiing style of game. You're just going downhill and racing and stuff, and there's crossplay, and it's pretty cool. It's just kind of a relaxing, sit back and just don't think about anything style game. Mech Warriors 5 Clans is here for August 6th on Game Pass Standard. Orcs Must Die Death Trap, August 6th on Game Pass Standard. And then we have Assassin's Creed Mirage here on August 7th, coming to Game Pass Ultimate and PC Game Pass. I played this game when it first came out. It is the first time Assassin's Creed and Ubisoft have gone back to the older styles of Assassin's Creed since they started making those more open world RPG games. And they do a great job here. You play as Basim and you're in Baghdad. It's very cool. Beautiful looking game, great stealth, decent story. And if you want that throwback to the older Assassin's Creed games, I highly recommend checking out and playing Assassin's Creed Mirage. Got Aliens Fireteam Elite on August 12th, going to Ultimate, PC, and Game Pass Standard. Nine Kings here, game preview, August 14th, going to Game Pass Ultimate and PC, and it is a fast-paced roguelike kingdom builder. So they're putting this one in game preview, newer game. We'll see how it is when it does end up dropping. But that is the list here. 8 games for August's announcement, or at least first announcement for Game Pass. It's not one of their better announcements this year, probably one of the worst announcements this year from Game Pass, but I still think there are some decent games in there to play. And they're setting themselves up here for a big end of the month when you have Gears of War Reloaded coming, and then you have a bunch of games that are going to be coming through September to December, highlighted obviously by Call of Duty Black Ops 7, which is dropping day 1 into this service, but still stuff to play. So many games to play this year. It just continues, and we're getting more in August, and August is a massive month overall for game drops, whether that's coming to Game Pass or whether that's just releasing here. It's going to be a big month. Halo Infinite is still getting updates, and Operation Shadows is coming for the fall update, and there is a lot of stuff here. Halo Infinite is a phenomenal Halo game. It's a phenomenal game overall. Yes, it fell off because they didn't have content consistently right off of the bat, but it's a shame because there's still people who haven't played it in a very long time who don't think it ever improved. But Halo Infinite is one of the best multiplayer games out there, one of the best Halo multiplayer games out there, potentially the best feeling Halo multiplayer game I would put up there as one of my top. It's very good, and they've added lots of content throughout the years. As we know, they're moving on to Unreal Engine 5 for the next Halo and the Halos beyond that. So Halo Infinite is going to go away. It's going to eventually just, I guess, be shut down. At some point, they're going to forget about it because they're not going to want to maintain the engine and all of that, and they're going to try to get people to move over. But until that point, they're still adding content, and it is going to be lots of stuff to play. It is still great. So here is the fall update for Halo Infinite. New vehicles coming, Falcon, which is awesome. And this is going to be Famished Falcon playlist on a selection of big team battle maps and Forge. There is a new weapon here called the Vestige Carbon. I watched some videos. It looks pretty cool. Free 20 tier plus premium battle pass and the free 50 tier operation pass. There's Forge updates coming. There's a firefight, which is switching between first person and third person at any time. So you get to play in both modes, which is awesome. There's S&D extraction updates, expanded weapons bench, sandbox updates, and balancing 2 limited time playlists and quality of life improvements. So they're adding some cool stuff here. Vehicles, free operation pass, battle pass, and then obviously the switching between the first person and the third person in firefight, which is always a good time. I'm going to jump back in and play Halo again. I haven't played it in a little bit, but consistently every time I do go back into Halo Infinite, it always has good improvements and content to play. So they've done a good job on that, keeping it alive and just giving people who still want to play Halo Infinite enough content to be excited when they do drop these updates. So this is the fall update, and then we'll see what happens after that. Going into 2026, we know that a Halo game is coming. I mean, it's not officially announced, but they really did hint at it as the other game to celebrate the legacy of Xbox in 2026. So I wonder if that one will have multiplayer. From the reports and the rumors we're hearing, that it is only going to be a single player campaign, which would mean Halo Infinite is still going to be living here until they eventually break off and make a brand new multiplayer Halo from the ground up in Unreal Engine 5. And they'll continue to add updates and continue to add content to the game. As we know, PlayStation multi-platform, they're putting games in other places. Xbox is going to be a part of that. Helldivers 2 is coming this month. What will be the next PlayStation game to land on Xbox? We don't know. Rumors have it that it is Lego Horizon, which isn't very exciting for a lot of people because I don't know how well that game would even do. But Days Gone is one that always comes up that people think would do great on Xbox, and that a game that overall for PlayStation they look at as a failure because they don't want to greenlight a second game. You take it, you put it on another platform, you make some more money off of it, and then you go from there. If it's really loved on other platforms, then maybe there will be a second Days Gone to come. And I feel like a lot of people who played the first one really want that second one. It is an underrated PlayStation game. But the developers here at Ben Studios put out a tweet, and it is just a guy with that looking glass or magnifying glass, the emoji, and had everybody from Xbox on Xbox in terms of fans and everything wondering if this means that the game is coming to Xbox. I don't think it does, because we did get an announcement shortly after yesterday showing what this potentially was for. Now, there may not be a link, but I think that's what this meant. You have people here saying Xbox port for Days Gone. You have any information regarding an Xbox version soon, tweeting at Nate the Hate. You even had Jez saying that Xbox version is coming and it is confirmed. He was just joking though. This person saying, is it actually happening? Such an Xbox coded game too. So lots of people out here looking at this tweet and then calling for it to come to Xbox. I feel like Days Gone would do very good on the Xbox platform. I think people would buy it and want to play it. It does feel like a game that would fit perfectly on Xbox, but you go down into the comments and everybody is talking about it. You even have Cole Eastwood here putting out a picture with the Xbox Series X and the PS5 in the comments. Gamescom question mark. Paris putting out a tweet here wondering what it means. So everyone is talking about it, but what I think this tweet, all it meant was they were looking forward to this announcement, which is that Days Gone Broken Road DLC is available now on GOG. And that's probably what they were referring to. The other thing when you do take a look at this is that they are continuously bringing PlayStation stuff to more platforms, to more launchers, to more everything. They're trying to get their games out to more places, which is a very smart strategy, especially for games that commercially and in terms of popularity just are not as popular as their big hitters. So this is the way you easily can make more money off of it. So bring it to GOG. This is a step in the direction of getting games to more places. Will the next step potentially be porting this one over to Xbox? If they're not going to do anything with the IP, if it's a dead IP, at least for now, they're not looking to make a sequel to the game, why not? This would be a cheap way to bring in more revenue. So we'll see. We'll see if it does happen. But the question will now be going forward, what is the next PlayStation game coming over to Xbox after Helldivers 2? A game that is coming out this year that I am very interested and excited to play. is Mafia The Old Country. We now have information on the length of the story and how long it is and the style of game that it is if you're trying to compare it to previous Mafia games. We knew it was an open world, but this game is very much being compared to Mafia Definitive Edition, which is just really a narrative experience, linear. You go through and you get a cool story and everything. Mafia The Old Country is going to be within the same vein here. We have this tweet here saying Mafia The Old Country is similar in length and scope to Mafia Definitive Edition. Main story is 10.5 hours with side quests of 13 hours. And also that this quote here saying it's very similar to Mafia Definitive Edition. We saw how much the fans enjoyed that game, and it was the type of game that we really enjoy making, a linear story, a crime drama where you play the main character in a classic Mafia movie. To me, this is fine. This is actually great. I'm happy that they went in this direction simply because I have so many games to play, lots of open world games, lots of big RPGs. If it was a massive like 40, 50 hour open world Mafia game, I just don't know if I'd be able to get through it in any reasonable time with everything else that I do have on the go. So a nice 10.5 hour experience. Hopefully the story is great and the cinematics are awesome. Gives you that nice change up, at least for me and the other types of games that I'm currently playing, especially when you have games like Battlefield coming out, Call of Duty coming out, these multiplayer juggernauts that are going to take up people's time. This is a smart move here. We'll see how it does. The reviews are going to be out relatively soon, I would assume, because I mean the game is out in just about a week or so. Whenever it's out in the next week or whatever, but it is coming out very, very soon. So we'll see. Mafia The Old Country. We'll see how this one does do. I did see some tweets that they hadn't sent out review codes. That could be somewhat concerning. It would signal to me that they aren't that confident in it, but I can't confirm whether that is 100% true. I reached out to try to get a review code. I haven't received anything. If I do, well, we'll see. I mean, I'll be able to talk about it myself in a reasonable amount of time because I'll try to play through it as fast as I can. Battlefield 6 is the next big game here from EA. But what else is EA working on? Because we know they canceled the Black Panther game, which is very disappointing for me. I would have loved to see a Black Panther game. Well, Laura Miel, who's a president here at EA, talked about some of the other stuff that they're working on. And if you're hoping that there are more licensed IP games, Star Wars games, Marvel games, there are absolutely a bunch here in the works, as she does specifically mention here that the current slate tied to Disney and Marvel IP include the upcoming Star Wars Jedi 3, which I'm sure a lot of people are happy about, coming from a Respawn. Guessing that's where Vincent Pella is going to move to right away after Battlefield 6 launches, or at least direct more resources to that. A large-scale mobile title MMO, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and then Star Wars The Old Republic. So those are the Star Wars games in the works. And then from Marvel, an Iron Man video game is actually in the works. And they say here a few others that haven't been announced yet. So Iron Man game sounds great, sounds cool. I think EA actually could do a great job with that simply because Anthem, and they kind of already nailed the whole Iron Man aesthetic and flying around. So you take that, you transfer it to a single player experience, and you can make a great story with it and stuff and be fun to play. But they have a lot of licensed games here in the works, and there's a lot of risk with the licensed games simply because it costs a lot more to make them with having to pay for the license itself. But we'll see what happens with them. I think they could do a decent job. It's unfortunate they canceled Black Panther, but who knows, maybe that game just was going nowhere and would have ended up pretty bad if they would have continued to develop it and was taking too long to develop itself. Battlefield 6 is obviously their big next one. And with Battlefield 6, one of the major things people are focused on here is the destruction, similar to Bad Company, which is what has really caught my attention with Battlefield 6, why I'm excited to jump into the open beta this weekend and eventually play the entire game. And they looked at Battlefield Bad Company 2's destruction, took that, and basically we're using it as the inspiration for Battlefield 6. We have this here, an interview with PC gamer Jeremy Chubb, the lead multiplayer producer at DICE, stated that Bad Company's 2 destruction was a huge inspiration for Battlefield 6, noting that when players look for excellence in our legacy, Bad Company 2 is where you find it. And I think Bad Company 2 for a lot of people is their favorite Battlefield game. It's up there as maybe the pinnacle of it, but there definitely was that era as well with like Battlefield 3 and 4 where the competition was very high with games like Call of Duty. And yes, I understand both games are different in the way that they play, in the scope of them. Battlefield much more bigger play maps, and you're having big large scale battles with all these vehicles and everything. Call of Duty more of like an arena shooter, smaller scale maps, fast paced. But there was that competition between the two where people were kind of going back and forth. Which one do I want to spend more time in? And I would say probably after Battlefield 4, we kind of got away from that. I can't remember if Battlefield 1 did big numbers or Battlefield 5 or anything like that, but I feel like those two just weren't nearly as good. And now we're going back. And if all of the hype, there's a lot of hype around Battlefield 6. Like there's a lot of people looking very excited towards this one, even much more so than I think for 2042. And now with all of these destruction elements, there's going to be some pretty cool gameplay elements, and as well as videos that come out of people doing crazy things, blowing down buildings, seeing what happens to your team as you're running through, which will put a lot of pressure here for Call of Duty to come up with a game that competes highly with it. And it will. Call of Duty will still be the top selling game, and it will compete very good. But I always think that it is good when we get that competition between games within the same genre that push each other to move forward. I think back when about like the NFL license and Madden games, it has no competition. That's why the game hasn't really evolved very much. So now with Call of Duty looking like it will have competition, we'll see how it does push Activision to make Call of Duty even better than it currently is. And finally, Larian, their next game, there's going to be a lot of pressure on them to top what they've done with Baldur's Gate 3. We haven't really heard anything about it yet, but we do have a little bit of information here as Larian asks fans to be patient for its next crazy thing, whatever that could be. They are working on something. Sven Vink says he's desperate to share details about the studio's next game, but has asked fans to stay patient for the reveal. He teased this saying next crazy thing on X in response to a post celebrating a 2-year anniversary of Baldur's Gate 3. Continues here to say, crazy to think it's only been 2 years. It's truly been life-changing, probably worth writing about one day, but I can spoil the biggest takeaway. BG3 was what allowed us to do our next crazy thing. How that will pan out is anyone's guess, but I can assure you we're working hard to ensure you'll have plenty of fun, like really loads of it in a surprising way. And I can't wait to show you, but you'll need to be patient. We'll need a bit of time to make it all work. It'll be worth it though. Baldur's Gate 3 came out in August of 2023. The question you have to ask yourself here is the development cycle for their next game. Are they going for like a 10-year dev cycle like some of these big RPGs do after they're successful, or like a 6-year dev cycle? Or are they trying to be more reasonable and get their next project out in about 4 years? Because I think that probably is the way to go, especially with the way that the industry is going. However, with Larian and now with their pedigree after the success of Baldur's Gate 3, they probably have afforded themselves plenty of time. They have the money, they have the resources and the funding for whatever they make next, no matter basically how long it does take. So we'll see. There will be huge hype. I mean, I think Baldur's Gate 3, with the success of it, has put it up there in a top tier echelon of games that people will be excited for. And when the announcement comes, we'll just take over the entire gaming world. So we'll see what Sven Vik comes up with. Seems pretty confident, as he should be. But on the video there, guys, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.